It's the book of Micah, chapter 4, beginning of verse 3. And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Shalom, shalom, akim. Call Allah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Bachakorash. The honor to the elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations unto the hopeful elect and to the few sincere aquas out there listening in truth and sincerity. I say shalom. I'm the Billy Gabari Allah coming at you with another lesson. And this lesson is going to be entitled New Jerusalem, or Our Kingdom is going to be of that of peace. Okay, our kingdom to come will be that of peace. All right, and this lesson was inspired to me because I was watching a lesson from the brother GMS historical breakdowns. All right, and he made a lesson on First Kings, the fourth chapter. Which I watched, and one of the topics towards the end of the video was New Jerusalem. Okay, because he was going into how King Solomon, being Yahushua and the reincarnation, was pretty much ruling. And back in his time, when King Solomon was ruling, it was peaceful. So that's what inspired me to make this lesson, man. Because it really gave me a sort of comfort. That our kingdom to come is going to be that of peace. Okay, because there's no peace here. We've never felt true peace. Okay, and especially not in this nation. All right, so we don't know what true, real peace sound or looks like or feels like. Because even Esau can't live in peace. You see what's going on out there with um the United States and other countries. Okay, even Esau, everyday Esau can't live in peace. So if the man that this kingdom is for can't live in peace, what makes you think any other nation can live in peace, especially the Israelites? You know, so that we are going to rule in peace. Okay, there's going to be no competition. We're going to be so far above that there's going to be no competition whatsoever, man. Okay, but this is the book of Micah, chapter 4, in the beginning of verse 1. It reads, "But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, shall be established in the top of the mountains, and it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it." All right. It says, "And many nations shall come and say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai." All right. And, mountains are representatives of governments. Okay. So these other nations are going to be, looking at how we're ruling. Okay. And they're going to fall in line. They're going to fall in order because they're going to see how stabilized and how peaceful it is. Okay. Because in the day of our kingdom, it's going to be so peaceful. And there's going to be real rulers ruling the world. Okay. That these nations are going to be like, yeah, we got to follow them. They're not even going to try to buck up, because of how peaceful and how perfect everything's going to flow. Because there's going to be true righteousness established. There's going to be true uh, order established in the world. There's not going to be no confusion, none of that. All right, it says, "And to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of the Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, from Jerusalem." Okay, and when you go into the word Jerusalem, it means city of peace. Okay, Yasharallah. All right, but we know that Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Okay. Anyways, it says, verse 3, "And he shall judge among many people, and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nations, it's like a nation, shall not lift up a sword against a nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Exactly, and that was the point. Okay, nations are no longer going to be fighting against people, against nations. There's going to be no more wars. There's going to be no more bloodshed. You know, Esau loves bloodshed. All right, Esau loves that shit. That's what he thrives on. That's what he lives off. All right, Esau is the wicked. Okay, the scriptures say that. Let me grab that real quick. All right, the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse 16. It says, "Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, for who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright." Right, you know, and Esau is a very profane person. Okay, he's a very wicked individual. All right, he very much he likes wickedness. You know, he likes bloodshed. Real quick. All right, because Esau built his house off of bloodshed. All right, it reads the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. I will just get straight to the point, verse 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. All right. So, and we understand that Esau did that. Okay. As a matter of fact, through the Spirit, I'm gonna read a bit of this book. Okay, and it's called the Willie Lynch Letter. All right, and it's entitled "And the Making of a Slave." All right, and just the words that these people use and how they treated our people, okay, will make you angry. Okay, because reading this shit made me furious. All right. Now I'm not gonna read the whole thing, of course, because it's way too long. But I'm gonna read a little bit of a little bit of the very first page. All right. And for purposes of getting this video stricken down, I'm gonna refer to the N word. Okay. I'm not gonna say. I'm just gonna say the N word. But it says it with the hard R. Okay. Uh. But yeah, it says right here. It says we lay down the following principles for long-range comprehensive economic planning. Both horse and N-word is no good to the economy in the wild or natural state. Both must be broken and tied together for orderly production. Exactly. So they wanted to break us. They wanted to break our Akim, the Southern Kingdom. Okay, and that's what they did. It says, for orderly future, special and particular attention must be paid to the female and the youngest offspring. Both must be crossbred to produce a variety and division of labor. Both must be taught to respond to a peculiar new language. It says psychological and physical instruction and containment must be created for both. All right, and this whole letter goes into breaking the so-called black man down. Okay, it says right here, jumping on down, it says, above all, you cannot get them to work in this natural state. Hence, both the horse and the N-word must be broken. That is, breaking them from one form of mental life to another. Keep the body, take the mind. In other words, break the will to resist. Now the breaking process is the same for both the horse and the N-word, only slightly varying in degrees, but as we said before, there is an art in long-range economic planning. All right, and that's all I'm gonna read on that. But it's the whole letter that this dude Willie Lynch wrote, man, this dude is a fucking devil, man. And that's exactly how they still feel about us today. Okay, and that's why when the brother got the gun pulled on him, uh, the Edomite kept saying the N word with the hard R. You know, so we understand this. All right, but it says Habakkuk 2:12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity, and that's exactly what Esau did. All right, he tortured our women. He tortured our people, our men, our children. Okay, all this shit. All right. And so the Lord is getting ready to come back and to set things in order, and that's the beauty of it. It says, going back to Micah chapter 4 and verse 4, but they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree, and none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua of hosts, have spoken it. Right, man. And no one's going to make us afraid. We will no longer have to subject ourselves to this torment of this world and Esau, you know. All right, so it says, verse 5, for all people will walk every one in the name of his power, and we will walk in the name of our Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, our power forever and ever. And I'm ending right here. It says, in that day, saith the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, will I assemble her that haileth, and I will gather her that is driven out, and her that I have afflicted. And ultimately, Esau is the Lord's sword, and the Lord afflicted us via Esau, you know. So, the point of the lesson, man, is that we will no longer have to suffer any of this. All right, we'll no longer have to suffer waking up, going to slavery, subjecting ourselves to the opinions of these people, you know. And there's a lot of so-called white people who, like I said again, is not a skin-based color slacking color-based doctrine. Okay, because you have certain brothers who are on the lighter side who you would make out to look like a so-called white man, you know, but they didn't do that to our people. Okay, that is a factor of what happened because our woman was raped. Okay, our people was raped, robbed, and murdered, man. So and we were scattered on top of that. So we don't know what we look like truly, and like the scriptures say, the nation of Israel is as the salt, as the sand of the sea, innumerable. So, skin color and whatever, you could have grown up, thinking you was a white Christian or whatever. If this resonates with you and you have that same hatred towards the people who did this to us, you a Jake, man. So hey, Lord willing was edifying. Okay, our kingdom is going to come, and and every Israelite is going to be a part of that kingdom, man. No matter what you look like on here, as long as you Jake, if the 2/3 going to have to suffer a horrible judgment, but through the elect are you going to be brought back. So Lord willing was edifying, Lord willing was uplifting. Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Chakodash. The bond yet again to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone.